Hello folks, welcome back. Hope you're all doing very well. In this video I just want to go over a really important case in regards to business registration and banking, which obviously is a very important topic for a lot of us, especially when it comes to becoming sovereign in terms of what can I do in terms of protecting my business, what's the kind of options for banking that I have to protect my sweat equity, etc., etc. So I've got a really interesting case here that I want to update you guys, which will hopefully help give you confidence and impetus to go away and do these things yourself, and just to show that again this stuff works, so you can go away and do this, so you can protect more of your sweat equity and realize the mechanisms involved in doing so. And obviously I'll speak about some of the accounts and business kind of banking practices that I use in order to help safeguard my sweat equity and access of funds. Which I think is obviously very important on this journey that we try to achieve, and recognize that there are plenty of options out there, and again plenty of solutions as well. So what was interesting, back in October 2021 I received an email. So I've got a PayPal business account, okay, and so this is primarily, people have two options. They can either pay through PayPal, which obviously goes straight into my PayPal business account, and or through Stripe, which the Stripe is linked to my TransferWise account, which is a personal account, which we'll get into later. And a lot of the IDs obviously that I get people to purchase are also through the PayPal business account. And so what was happening, obviously I started to earn a little bit more money as this website got more traction and people ordering more IDs, and I was obviously sending other products and services like my other course. And so that got flagged in terms of the algorithm was recognizing differences in payment methods in regards to just the fee of the course. And so obviously flagged up, and what they wanted to check was the legitimacy of my business and the funds I was earning, and obviously proof of the costs for ordering these IDs, and proof of shipment, as well as proof of a lawful registered business. So I thought, oh, okay, this would be quite interesting to see whether sending in a declaration, my personal sovereignty declaration, or like a business, self-registered business document using these procedures that we've learned so far works in regards to satisfying their requirements. Because PayPal is a huge multinational company, and so they work they're very stringent in working close to the financial regulations of any given country that business will be residing in. So long story short, I sent in my declaration with an added paragraph highlighting the business practices and services that I offer in my terms and conditions, and they basically reopened my account. As you can see here, your account access has been restored. And I thought that was really quite profound, and again, great confirmation in terms of them honouring documents like this, okay? And because I'm doing business in my own private capacity under my own name, I just added a small paragraph of how I wish to do my banking and business practices into my personal sovereignty declaration. So if you have got a separate business with a separate name, a franchise, bricks and mortar business with a different brand name, etc., you can create a whole document declaration for that given business as if you're registering it yourself at your own address. So you can imagine your own address to be like a company's house here in the UK or wherever you are in the world that would otherwise receive and keep record of businesses that are registered through them. And so obviously we don't want to be doing and using their bankrupt institutions. We now know the procedure that we can register things ourselves and keep title ownership of the thing, which does not allow them to charge us for tax, and it keeps us protected fully under the laws of sovereignty internationally, so we can obviously protect our sweat equity and not be taxed and have privileges such as this, and see that these documents work when sending into these banks and PayPal, for instance, business account, in order to have full banking services provided. So I just want to quickly read through the paragraph that I added, and this is another important concept to take away from this video, is the power of amending original documents. Okay, because we are now the record keepers as we're running our own court of office. It's important that we understand the concept that everything they do in their governments and their institutions, we have full power to do ourselves. And as you see, they always amend their documents, their laws, their statutes, their acts. We can do exactly the same. We have full power and license to do these things. And so you can simply, if you want to change an address, change a name, change some of your terms and conditions that the banks do to us all the time, we have the power to go in and amend and edit documents of our originals. Okay, and it could simply just be through adding a document, like a Word document, printed off, and then attaching that to the original, putting a date in, and identifying obviously where that will be slipped into the main body of the text. Or you can actually go in and reprint and obviously add paragraphs to original scanned versions if you're kind of in a situation that I was in terms of just trying this out really quick because I needed to kind of transfer funds and need to get this resolved fairly quickly. You can download Adobe Acrobat Pro and you actually have the ability here to edit documents, which is this little icon here, and you can actually go in, it scans it, it takes a bit of while to process, but you can actually go in and add words and paragraphs into original scanned documents. So my original records actually does not have this paragraph down here. Okay, so I just added this in quick because I knew I didn't have to print this out and this was all going to be sent digitally to them in order to try and resolve the reopening of my account. And so you always have that option. You have the power to amend documents as long as you log it, date it, and keep a record of everything you do. And obviously if it's important in terms of your business or your status, that you notify them of any updates of your T's and C's. All right, so that's very important to do also. Just like they do with us, we have to do with them when we become self-sufficient and running our own sovereign estate. All right, so I hope that has made a lot of sense. So I'll just read through this paragraph to show you what I added, which is, again, very minimal. I always do these things to see what I can get away with, like the least I can get away with. As you saw with the bonds with my insurance, I didn't even fill the bond out properly, but because it was recorded, registered to post, and it was clear in plain simple English, even though I did the cursive signature and kind of the seal wasn't correct and the registered postal sticker didn't use that, it just goes to show these things work. Okay, so you don't have to get too caught up in being a perfectionist in these things. But obviously now we all know by this point all the right things to do. It's obviously good to dot all the I's and cross all the T's, so everything's nice and watertight. But don't pull your hair out when you make a little mistake or error here, error there. It doesn't matter. It just goes to show, as long as it's clear and the volition of the message is clear and portrayed on paper, and it's all recorded, sent, registered post, proof of posting, it's locked in law. it's locked in. They can't do anything. Right. So I'll just read this paragraph out. This is what I added. So it says, I'm doing business as Alexander-George Middleditch in my private capacity as a principal beneficiary. All banking practices and platforms that support my private business and commercial transactions are private, and all affairs in my business are private. The website agmiddleditch.com and the corresponding products and services is operating under a private and confidential agreement with its customers. As a sovereign state, my business is protected under international law. Any restrictions imposed upon my private business accounts will be in direct violation of international law, which is